Ready, give it to go. Terrence, you first. Accio. Good. Bailey.
Accio.
Very good. Luke.
Accio.
Wonderful. Now Gretchen.
Accio.
Excellent. Now all together on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Accio Hogwarts Radio.
This is Hogwarts Radio, episode 232 for February 3rd, 2019. Hogwarts Radio is the official podcast for wizarding news from HPA&A, discussing all things Harry Potter, Fantastic Beasts, and the rest of the wizarding world. For the quickest up-to-date news on the franchise, make sure you check out wizarding.news. Hello everyone, and this is Hogwarts Radio, broadcasting to Harry Potter fans worldwide since 2008. I'm Terrence Pinkston.
I'm Bailey Riddle.
I'm Luke Hogan.
And I'm Gretchen Rush.
Our show can be found virtually anywhere online, such as iTunes, the Google Podcast app, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Radio Public, and other places where podcasts are aggregated.
It doesn't matter where or how you listen, just make sure to tap the subscribe button, and we guarantee you'll have a new episode each Sunday.
We also invite you to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram so you never miss an update from the show.
Finally, Hogwarts Radio is also on Patreon. By pledging, you'll have instant access to many benefits, including Into the Common Room, behind-the-scenes planning of the show, Hogshead Radio, and much more. Visit patreon.com/Hogwarts Radio to sign up today. Welcome to episode 232, and happy belated birthday to Bailey. She finally celebrated her 18th birthday this past Thursday. Well, how old are you?
I just turned 24.
Oh my goodness. Ugh.
It's time to break out the cane.
It really is. Yeah. We're in the polar vortex right now. This is the polar vortex edition of Hogwarts Radio. Do you feel like your hips are locking up on you? You have to kind of get them going in the morning.
So funny you should mention that.
Uh-oh.
Old mattress has been causing hip issues.
Oh.
But I ordered a new bed, so.
Oh, well, there you go.
I'm fighting aging.
Since it is the polar vortex, can everyone give what the temperature this morning was? In St. Louis, it was -4 when I woke up this morning.
-4. Wow. I don't know. Whenever I woke up this morning, it was 39 degrees, I think. I know, very chilly.
Bailey?
It's so cold, Terrence. It was about 44 when I woke up.
Wow.
And I'm pretty sure Gretchen's going to win this one.
No, I'm in the wrong area. So like 3 hours away where my parents live, theirs was like -10, -30 with wind chill. Mine was like 10 degrees today, but tomorrow's supposed to be like -5.
It's not too bad.
Oh.
No, totally doable. It's great.
I enjoy it. That's true.
We're hoping that everybody is staying warm and toasty because it's about to heat up in here with a lot of discussion about, yes, that famous boy wizard, the boy who lived, Harry Potter. And specifically, we want to start at this episode with kind of a note on the Prisoner of Azkaban Illustrated Edition. It's page 94, so if you have that, open up your book to that page. And it shows Severus Snape, right? Has Professor Snape and shows a wonderful illustration. But if you look in the lower left-hand side, you see a Niffler in a bottle. How messed up is this? I was livid whenever I saw this. Yeah, Lucas.
It's funny because this isn't the first time I've seen this. I flipped through this book when I first bought it, and I vaguely remember seeing it, but it didn't even dawn on me that Niffler totally looks like it's alive and it's trying to crawl its way out. And there's got to be some sort of ethical animal rights going on that are being broken here.
Yeah, I've read this book and I noticed a Snape illustration and I was like, oh, well, look at that illustration. He looks so greasy and creepy. I literally didn't even notice this until you pointed it out.
There's also a big fat slug on the jar that the Niffler is in.
So I wonder if Snape is harvesting something from the Niffler. But Nifflers really don't give off anything. What are you going to do? Like get Niffler hair and use that for a potion? Or like why bottle a Niffler?
Maybe that is I don't know, symbolic for fame. He's clearly bottled fame at this point, right? Or maybe
have
he's
a
trying to
theory.
imbue the senses.
So he keeps this Niffler in a bottle, and the Niffler goes and fetches all of the pricey, extravagant potion items that he needs.
I see. Luke, you also had another point in our Slack chat, and I, for the life of me, can't pull it up and figure out what it is. What was it? Something about bottled.
So I basically gave the art piece a title, and it was called, quote, Bottled Curiosity, Snapeth Assholio.
I thought that was funny
That
because
was my name for the painting.
Nifflers are very curious creatures. But I was reading into this, right? Because there's been discussions online, and people seem to think it's a mole that's bottled up, and that's kind of symbolic because Snape is the mole. He's inserted into, Voldemort's clan, or he's the mole for Dumbledore. But honestly, it didn't look like a mole to me. It just, the way it was illustrated, it's totally a Niffler, right? Or am I mistaken?
It's a Niffler, and I'm going to try to check real quick if I can get this to open, but I think like the way Nifflers are described is specifically like mole-like creature.
Mm-hmm.
But we would like to hear what you guys think. We're going to include a link to this page in our show notes. Actually, to a tweet that we have, because I think we put it out on Twitter as well to try to get some responses. And we want you guys to see this for yourself. Now, speaking of pictures, earlier this week I came across a Crimes of Grindelwald cast photo. And guys, it really made me think, like, what in the hell? Like, who dresses these people? I get it, like, okay, people want to be free spirits and stuff like that. I don't have a problem with that at all. Ezra, you do you, but holy cow, it was a little bit extra. I mean, he's in some sort of pink lingerie. I mean, straight up lingerie. And he's wearing a kind of this weird, almost like a mushroom-like cap. And he's supposed to be like a Toadette from Mario. Because I believe this picture was taken at Comic-Con. But it got me looking at what the other cast members were wearing in the photo. And what did we say in our Slack chat? That it seemed like that it seemed like it was like a high school drama yearbook photo.
Yeah, I think that was you, Gretchen, that said it looks like a drama club yearbook photo.
Yeah, I like it because it's like they're clearly in front of a backdrop, but it's not large enough for the whole cast to stand in front of, so you can like see where the backdrop begins and ends. So it looks like you're getting your class picture taken. And they're all kind of doing like little goofy poses. So it looks like, okay, drama club, come take your yearbook photo now. It's adorable.
I don't know if adorable is the word to describe it, though. It's very, I don't know. That particular one made me uncomfortable. For some
I
reason.
think you're the only one that has the issue with this photo, Terrence. Because to me, that's just like, it's the epitome of Comic-Con. You get people coming in to all manners of cosplay, as we see with Ezra, and, they're on vacation to have a good time in the middle of summer in San Diego. I don't see anything weird about what anyone's wearing.
But literally everyone looks like they're in pajamas.
Well, yeah, I mean, and
if that's how you want to roll out of bed and go to your junket.
I mean, guys, I really believe. I mean, I'm into fashion. I work in fashion. That's my muggle job is fashion. And some of these people, I mean, okay, take Jude Law, for example. I love Jude Law. That's wonderful. But it looks like he's wearing a cami, white cami, and then a suit that he pulled out of the bottom of the laundry bin. I mean, it's like, that's, to me, it just, a lot of things about that picture just kind of really frustrated me and made me cringe a little bit. I mean, I love the way that they're all, smiling and having fun and stuff like that. But it's just like, oh my goodness. I couldn't, like, I had to look at another picture, and then I came across a picture of the Niffler, and I was like, oh my God, okay, that's it. I close these books. I'm done for the day.
I mean, really, I think it's Ezra that sets the tone for you to even question it, and the wrinkled suit is a little questionable, but like everyone else, sure. Like it's especially like Newt. I think Newt looks phenomenal. I like the style he's bringing, and he's just wearing a suit of happiness, and I appreciate it.
A suit of happiness, a Toadette suit. A suit out of the bottom of the laundry bin. I'm glad somebody's not wearing a birthday suit.
And an oversized suit on Allison.
Well, I love Allison's look. The only thing that I had problem with was that it looked like she was wearing nothing underneath that blazer, and it just kind of made me like, what?
That's the style, Terrence.
I work in fashion. That is not the style.
It's not the everyday style, it's the red carpet style.
I see. Maybe I need to brush up on my fashion acumen and all that other
Yeah,
stuff.
there's a lot of times that actresses and singers will wear massively oversized blazers as a dress with nothing underneath it. No
Oh my
pants.
goodness.
Yeah.
Girl, that's all kinds of scary. Ugh. Well, anyway, we'll also include a link to that picture in our show notes as well. Our show notes is just going to be a bunch of pictures, guys. And speaking of new pictures, we've got several to talk about in our news section. So, Gretchen, what's been happening over the past week?
So first, some pictures that we got were of the new attraction at Universal's Wizarding World. So we've talked about it a few times on the show, and now we've gotten a couple new images. We're seeing a bit more details. So we're seeing a lot of trees. It looks like it is going to be the Forbidden Forest. It's really hinting at that. And we can kind of see Hagrid's hut now in more clear detail. So really looks like it's going to be Forbidden Forest, Hagrid's hut, maybe some other additional details that have yet to be revealed. But it's the most interesting thing about it is that it just is kind of huge. Like the whole thing is this enormous piece of real estate in the Wizarding World, and it looks like they really are trying to create, if it is a Forbidden Forest, which we think it is, they really are trying to create this huge forest for fans to look at and enjoy and take a ride through. So it's looking even cooler than it has been. I'm pretty excited for this to finally be done so we can see it and go on it.
Have we seen any concept art at all for this? I don't think so.
No,
right?
they haven't even confirmed what it is. It's all still speculation.
There's just been
but-
the one teaser image.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one with the pixie.
Yeah.
Just like the forest and the pixie. So, I mean, it's more than definitely going to be the Forbidden Forest. But yeah, we haven't seen any art. We've seen no mention of possible names for the ride, nothing like that.
So much as like Gringotts, right? You jump into a cart and you go through this roller coaster track on this adventure through Gringotts. What we've been exposed to in the books and in the movies is the Fort Anglia in the forest. So could the cart that you ride in be modeled after the Fort Anglia, and you're going all throughout the Forbidden Forest, encountering centaurs, Aragog's clan, or even werewolves? Do we think that's a possibility?
I definitely think it's a possibility, especially given the fact that there is the Fort Anglia in, I believe it's in the line for the Flight of the Hippogriff ride. When you go past Hagrid's hut, you see the Fort Anglia. So it would definitely be a good tie-in for just everything in that world to kind of all revolve around the same sort of theme.
I think we're going to see the same kind of track that we see in Gringotts, is where the carriage actually rotates and it bobbles while it's on this track. So, you know, you're not just getting that standard roller coaster feel to it. It's, you know, as you're going down and up, you're tilting like side to side, you're spinning around. So, I mean, I could definitely see like maybe the Whomping Willow hitting the car and then sending you spinning, and then you go to Aragog's lair and stuff like that. I mean, it's really exciting. It's set to open in July, as we've heard. Is that official? I can't remember.
I'm not sure.
But that's what the rumors, I believe, are hinting to right now, is a July opening. Very cool stuff.
Our next bit of news is about the 20th anniversary editions that we've been getting. So whenever the book's 20th anniversary comes, they have been doing these beautiful house color editions. So they just announced the editions for Prisoner of Azkaban. So these ones are just like the other ones. You can get them in either the solid color paperbacks, the red, yellow, green, or blue, or you can get them in the hardback with the black cover and the colored emblem in the middle, and then the spine is striped to look like a house tie. So we already had these for Sorcerer's Stone and Chamber of Secrets, and now they've announced that the Prisoner of Azkaban ones are coming as well. And these look gorgeous. They'll be available June 13th, and the images in the center are really cool. They all have Moody as a werewolf in the center, but they have different like detailing. So you can see different types of the moon on different covers, or different marauder is on each cover. So there's a lot of Easter eggs, and it seems like there's more Easter eggs on this one than either Chamber of Secrets or Sorcerer's Stone. I don't remember either of those looking quite as cool as these ones do.
That's cool. One of the main themes in, as you said, Gretchen, in the covers is that they're all showing something different, but yet it's kind of all the same. Like in the Gryffindor one, you're seeing the moon up in the left-hand corner. And the Slytherin one, the moon is straight up midnight. And then in the Ravenclaw one, it's kind of huge and, a clearing of trees and stuff like that. It really looks cool. And I think this is wonderful especially for those fans that are looking to replace their hardback sets. This is something that they might want to invest in. Everything that they've come out with so far has been nothing but paperback editions, if I'm not mistaken. So, to have these being released in paperback and hardback, I think it's wonderful. I mean, my Potter books are, starting to age. Sorcerer's Stone is 20 years old. And I can think of many people that have books that are, many people that don't have books that are 20 years old. So these might be the oldest that we own.
What bothers me the most about this entire series as a whole of these editions is so for example, on the Philosopher's Stone hardback edition, it's the same thing where it's the black cover with the house color as the detail, but then on Chamber of Secrets it's an all red color for Gryffindor with minimal black detailing, and now they're switching back to the black with the color of the house as the highlight color. So I think every book is going to flip-flop back and forth, so it'll be black color, and it's not consistent for me, and I don't like that.
Yeah, I wish, they're already making that split between the paperback and the hardcover, right? Like just on these versions right here, the paperbacks are all in true tone house color, and the hardbacks all have the black leather or whatever material it is cover. And I agree with you. That kind of bothers me. Like if you're going to have a set, like make it look like it was intentional. And maybe they are going to alternate them all, but they're already alternating like the colors on the exposed page ends. Like they have the house colors there, which I think is enough flair. Like that's enough to be impressive looking. But I'm kind of with you. Like have the hardbacks all look predominantly the same with jazzed up a little bit specific to each one.
It needs to look appealing on the bookshelf. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. I want my set to look all the same, which is kind of why I haven't gone through and made the investment in this yet, because I was waiting to see what they were going to do with this third book, and it does appear that they're going to be switching back and forth.
It just looks awesome. I love, this is what I would want the whole set to look like, and just kind of these specific covers, for each year. But the consistency of it, I actually didn't know that, or I forgot that book 2 was different, and that kind of bothers me, because I was kind of holding off, and I was thinking, man, if I do get a full set soon, I'm gonna wait until all of these are out and get them all at one fell swoop. But I don't know. We'll see.
To be fair, the Marie Grand Prix books were of different colors as well. So, does that bother anybody?
No, but those all came out individually as they were coming out. This is like hey, all the stories are completely finished. We can do this specific to create this hardback set only for this purpose. Mm-hmm. Why would you change the style of it while you're going? And again, maybe that was intentional from the start to have them alternate, but I don't know. And maybe it's just the OCD in me or whatever. I like it to be just more minimalistic about it.
Yeah, I would have much preferred if they would have kept, like, for example, all the hardbacks in the black version and all of the paperbacks in the color version versus switching back and forth on each time they release a new edition.
Completely agree.
Yeah, that would have made much more sense because they're already getting both colors, both styles. So why would you need to alternate? No one cares. No one bought the paperback of Sorcerer's Stone and then we're like, oh, I wish the paperback was black with the color detailing. And then Chamber of Secrets came out and they were like, oh, great. Now I have two books that don't match.
Mhm.
No, I
I
don't
think
think,
it's
I mean,
just-
if you said that, let me know, but I don't think anyone said that.
I think it's a marketing ploy to get you to buy all of them so that you have both the paperback and the hardback and you don't feel like you're missing out by not having one in color or one in black.
I'll just buy neither and then I'm not missing out.
Yeah, I just want to buy all 56 of them, all 8 from all 7 books. Because
I
and
think
that's
You know,
good.
there are people out there who are doing it.
and like I
Yeah.
really do like the differences between the cover art. Like I actually, yeah, that's kind of neat that they all have a little bit different Easter eggs kind of with them, and that's, I mean, yeah, it's kind of appealing to want to get the full set, at least of like one hardback or paperback of each year, like his style. I can see the draw for that.
So, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them is going to air on the USA Network for the first time, which is very exciting. It will be part of a Potter marathon, of course. So we're not getting those lovely ABC Family Harry Potter weekends anymore, but we are getting a USA Harry Potter weekend. It will be February 1st through 3rd, and Fantastic Beasts will air once each day at either 8 o'clock p.m. or 8:05 p.m., depending on the day. So you can find that full schedule online. But as of right now, NBC Universal Networks USA and Sci-Fi hold the exclusive airing rights to Harry Potter and Fantastic Beasts through 2025. So we are sure to have more Potter weekends on these networks in the future.
This seems about right. Usually the networks are starting to air the movies about 2 years after they come out. And of course, this probably has something to do with the licensing rights. But I wonder, is the 2-year mark kind of a statute of limitations of some sort? Like after they show in the theaters 2 years later, you can show them or they can show them on the networks. That's generally what I came to conclude. Just about the Harry Potter films and then about this. I'm just doing some math in my head and I'm thinking, oh my God, whenever they did Harry Potter weekends, Goblet of Fire was out and I was waiting for them to release Order of the Phoenix, and that was 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 years ago or something like that. I feel so old. That's why I don't do math.
I'm sure there's some sort of legal length of time that they have to wait after it goes on sale for DVD, but I imagine that the reason that they do wait so long is because they want people to go out and buy it if they want to watch it. So I'm sure that's probably the biggest reason they wait so long.
Well, it's got to be like, all part of those, however they set up the deals for it, but it's also like you're saying, a marketing decision of, well, how soon do we want to start giving it away as opposed to people going out and buying it. But at the same time, you can catch people who weren't really aware of it, or whatever on television, where maybe they didn't realize, oh, this is out now, and so like then sales could potentially boost again. So I'm sure there's tons of market research on when to do that, and I'm sure there are legal things involved in it as well. But there are people that are hired to figure those things out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
Very true.
I really liked what I appreciated about ABC Family was that they had a lot of social interaction as well. And so far with these Harry Potter weekends on Sci-Fi and USA, I haven't seen a ton of that. Like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, interacting with the fans and stuff like that whenever they were playing. They were saying, oh, Goblet Fire is about to begin on the East Coast. Stand by for the, Central Time Zone. And then a couple hours later, we'll play it on the, the Pacific Time Zone. I think that's what made it more special as well, was people could interact with these networks as the movies were playing. So it's really something that I hope that USA / Sci-Fi / whoever has the rights, HBO or something like that, does for the fans during these Harry Potter / Fantastic Beasts weekends.
Are these also all now available on Netflix right now?
No, they are not. They're
They're not
available
streaming.
internationally, in certain ones, but not. I saw a funny tweet from the US Netflix account. They said something like, if you still want to get mad at me over things that are in my control, like the Harry Potter movies, well, also it's snowing out.
It's
So
funny.
no, we don't have them, sadly.
It's funny because I was in Mexico this past weekend and they have it. We pulled up Netflix over there, and sign into our Netflix account, and they have the movies. So we're like, oh wow. And I was unaware that they were being shown internationally. I was unaware that Netflix had a license to them to do it internationally, unless they're just doing it. I don't know.
At least in Australia and New Zealand, it will be coming. But it does say specifically not UK, United States, or Canada. So fake news.
Wishful thinking, I
Yeah.
suppose.
Definitely. Maybe one day. Once it's 2026 and the US network USA runs out, that'll be good.
It's only 7
fine.
years. 7's a lucky
Yeah.
number. There we go.
Yep. Perfect. All right, we have a bit of Cursed Child news. So the pre-sale tickets for Cursed Child in Hamburg have been announced. The show doesn't go up until 2020, but you can start to buy your tickets soon. So tickets for, let's see how well I do this, Harry Potter und das Wunderschöne Kind. I don't remember how to say it. I apologize, everyone. They go on sale to the public on March 25th at 10 a.m. But fans wanting to get their hands on tickets sooner will have a chance to purchase pre-sale tickets on their website on Thursday, March 21st. So if you are planning a trip to Hamburg to see Cursed Child in 2020, you are going to want to get your hands on those tickets now because you might as well. We've learned that it's better to get them ahead of time.
No, really?
That's what I've learned the past several years.
They're going to have like un Friday 40. I don't know German, guys.
Oh, boy.
I'm sure they're going to have something like that as well. It's funny. We previously talked about this on an episode a while ago, if other countries would be getting Cursed Child and in their native language. Now we actually have confirmation of this, and I'm pretty sure that the production is going to be in German since the title is in German. So that's going to be fun for other fans, that don't speak English. And I'm sure as the year carries on and as the years carry on, that they're going to roll out to more countries in their native languages. And I can't imagine the amount of work that goes into that. I mean, just the production itself, but can you imagine if you have to translate it and make sure the translation makes sense? That's pretty insane.
That's a good point, yeah.
Die Akte Geschichte 19 Jahre später is the tagline, and if you know what that means, you get it.
Uh-huh.
Basically means the eighth story 19 years later. But
Oh, we knew that.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
19 Jahre, 19 years später, later, yeah.
I thought
Like-
Spader was Vader, like Darth Vader. I thought you
No,
were talking about Star
Spader's
Wars.
like fish Spader's like see you later.
James Spader, got it.
James
I was
Spader,
thinking
his last
James
name is
Spader.
later.
So it's gonna be a movie about Ultron, right?
Yeah,
Correct.
good.
Movie about Ultron.
It's like Sean Connery, Spader.
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 But anyway, that's a good point, Terrence, and it reminds me of I wrote an interesting article about the man who translated the first Harry Potter book into Hawaiian, and he talked about how it was a lot of work to translate spells and magical words into the language because he had to think about what would make sense here and kind of what words do we already have in our language that would kind of most directly translate to what Rowling has picked. So I imagine it's a similar thing for when you're translating Cursed Child. It just is a massive scale because it's, a 5-hour play or 4-hour play. So that's got to be such an undertaking. So no wonder it's not coming until 2020. They
Mhm.
must, they must need a lot of time to work on this.
Yeah,
Agreed.
the translating of stories is always something that's kind of fascinated me. Like you see like an old epic poem and it still rhymes and it's been translated through 3 different languages. You're like, there's no way this is what it originally said. Like it's got to be close, but the fact that it still rhymes bothers me at times. Like it's just no, it's not still gonna rhyme and have all the same intent that was originally there. But it also this reminds me of like whenever Harry Potter gets translated into Greek or Latin, like the spells are just going to be like light on, like they're already in that language for the most part. So it's just kind of funny, like, well, and then he just said lights on and the lights came on.
But he said it italicized.
Right.
Takes away a bit of the magic.
He spoke with italics.
The Warner Brothers studio tour in London has announced their new addition to the tour, and it's going to be super cool. So it will be Gringotts Wizarding Bank. They announced it through like a fun little clue dropping scavenger hunt on their social media accounts. And they finally have revealed it. So it is scheduled to open to the public on April 6th, which is pretty soon. And you can purchase tickets now. And it seems pretty awesome. I still haven't gotten a chance to go to the studio tour. I mean, I haven't gotten a chance to leave the country either. But when I do finally leave the country, I will be going to the studio tour. Have any of you been?
I haven't been yet. And that's the key word. I plan on going very soon, hopefully within a month.
Nice. I will not be going nearly that soon, but I do hope to go in the next couple of years.
Yeah, it's kind of like our Mecca, right? I mean, we say that about Universal Orlando. We say that about Universal Los Angeles, but it doesn't beat the original. Nothing's going to ever beat the original. You have the opportunity to go into the Great Hall. You have to go look at all the props. You have, to view the castle itself that they shot with, and to visit all these different sets. There's nothing that's going to beat the original things. So it's something that I encourage everybody to go and see. Even though I haven't been there, well, we kind of have in these films. So go visit it. Should be a great time.
I have not been, but my Harry Potter friend at work, because we all have one person that also appreciates Harry Potter. Her husband's from England, and so they go over there pretty often. And every time she comes back, she's like, I went again. Are you going yet? Have you got your trip booked? And I'm like, no, I can't stop podcasting. I can't take a break to do this. But like every time she shows me pictures, and it looks awesome. Like the way they've rebuilt it and moved things around to make it almost like a museum to the films is unprecedented, I think, for a single movie franchise. I mean, you can go on the Universal tour, and that I think has a similar thing to it, but that's covering hundreds of movies, and it changes a little bit over time as there's still active sets. And I don't know, I think it's a pretty unique experience that you get from it.
Right. I mean, heck, you can't even go and visit like other iconic places like the Friends apartment. They don't have that anymore. It was torn down after the final episode. Let's say you're a Trekkie, you want to go visit the Bridge of the Enterprise. Well, you can't because they tore it down.
That's what I was going to bring up, actually, because if you go to Ticonderoga, New York, you can see a replica of the Bridge of the Enterprise. And I did it. And it was so cool just to see how they rebuilt it from the exact specs. Like people who worked on the Enterprise, worked on Star Trek, rebuilt it so you can go and visit it. And it's so cool, but it's still not the exact thing like you can see in London at Leavesden Studios. So just the thought of going to see where Harry Potter was filmed, it's like blows my mind. I want to go so bad.
And this is where the magic happened. It's not going to ever get more real than this. You can go to the theme parks, you can go to the exhibitions, but it's never going to get more real than going to the studio where they actually filmed it.
Guys, the magic happened in our heads. It was in the pages in those books that are tattered on our bookshelves. But physically being able to visit these places that are imagined by other people is unmatched.
So if you get a chance to go after April 6th, you will get to see Gringotts, and we highly recommend it. Our last bit of news is a flashback piece. So 15 years ago today, Mike Newell announced that he will not be splitting Goblet of Fire into 2 movies. And this is what he said. He said, as far as I'm concerned, it's absolutely possible to do it in 1. I think it would be slightly embarrassing to do it in 2. And of course, we all know that he went on, turn that book into 1 movie, to, I think, mixed degrees of success. So what do you guys think of this decision?
I'm gonna light myself on fire here, but undoubtedly this is the biggest mistake in the franchise. The book was completely butchered. Characters were left out. Subplots were left non-existent. Fans of this movie, this was before they were splitting movies, right? This is something that I feel the studio should have taken a gamble on early on, and it would have paid off because the movie franchise thus far was just making money hand over fist, and to have it just all crammed into one movie, they really didn't do the fans justice, and I think they learned from it. To be fair, they did, and also this was, at this point in history, this was the most expensive film made. I think 120 something million dollars was the budget. 120, 140. I can't remember the number exactly, but most expensive movie ever made to that point. And of course, that was, that shattered later on. But I just feel that the franchise would have benefited for a Goblet of Fire Part 1 and Part 2.
I think when you do that, though, or if you would have done that, you open up the can of worms for every single film that follows that to be split. Because you could make an argument for pretty much every book could have been split into 2 films after that. And then you get into, it delays the release of the next film because typically they're going to put at least a year in between films before they release them. So you're doubling the amount of time that it's going to take for this entire series to come out, when I think people are going to end up getting burnout. I think that it was a wise decision to only split the very last book.
And here's where I agree with Terrence. All right.
Self 5.
Yeah,
whatever.
this movie should have been 2. It was garbage because of it's not being split. This is my least favorite movie because of the specific things that Terrence called out. The plot makes even less sense than the actual book does, which I love the book. It's still kind of far-fetched in some things that it does. But I don't know. I think they should have taken the gamble. And also being a huge Lord of the Rings fan, they shot all of those movies at the same time. They shoot just straight through 15 months, get all 3 movies done. And then they just, you alter the release a little bit, but like your production side doesn't get much different. You do it all ahead of time. You do it all once, and you have a little bit more time for the second part of it, but get it done, do it right. I understand I think kind of some of the backlash they got from movie 2, which would have been out, all the reviews would have been happening while they were kind of in pre-programming for the 4th movie, right? Because movie 3 would have already been kind of very well into production when movie 2 really came out and all of that. But a lot of the criticism of movie 2 is it's too true to the book. It's too almost line by line, and it feels very, very long because of it, where I think they took that as feedback to make sure that they don't have something like that happen again. And hey, let's do a true adaptation. And it was just kind of poorly executed. So it kind of falls in between. Either they should have done it and not overdone it, but I don't know. I'm not a fan of what they did choose to do.
So I feel like if they were to apply the Lord of the Rings method, the Peter Jackson method, to the entire series, I mean, they really couldn't shoot these movies all at once because all the books weren't out yet, right? And I understand that there has to be a break because these actors have to age, which they did a very good job with the casting because they selected somebody that was like 11 years old, and then whenever the series ended, he was 18. So the 7 years there, the 7 books, I think that was a wise choice. So shooting them all at once might not have been a good idea.
I mean, just shooting if they split book 4, just do that as one single shoot,
right?
Not all 7 stories.
Well, see, it also makes me wonder: were they also under the gun for Order of the Phoenix filming? Like, did some of these actors have contractual obligations that they couldn't get out of? Were they unable to secure some of the actors? That's why they had to also take a break between. That's why they had to shoot the film all at once, and they couldn't take a break.
I don't know. The way it sounds like that would be a complete embarrassment to even do so. It sounds like they had the choice to me.
Yeah, to talk more a little bit about what Newell was saying, he went on to say, like, oh, book 4 is your basic like thriller plot. And if we split that in half, it just wouldn't work. Like it wouldn't make any sense. You'd be ruining the story, basically. So I want to ask you guys then, if you do think it should have been split into two, so where would you split that? Where do you see like a natural, because I don't see a very natural split in Goblet of Fire.
I was
After
just
the Yule
thinking
Ball.
about that. Yeah.
Halfway through the year, you have a lot of pieces that aren't in place, but you have a lot of foreshadowing to task 2. You've got a big falling out with Ron and Hermione. So how's that going to resolve itself? I think there's a lot of things. You get the information that, yes, Hagrid is in fact a giant. You get, or that, her in Olymp is as well. So I think there's a lot of kind of tie-overs there. You could play up the Karkaroff-Snape interactions in the garden scene there. I think it could work.
You know, we couldn't even decide where to split Deathly Hallows Part 2. And the place that they ended up selecting worked very well. You know, that it was that cliffhanger. They built up the most tension at that point to the movie. And then we knew that it was going to be a free-for-all through the second half of the film. This one, I'm going to have to agree with Luke as well. It's half of the year's over with, Christmas time, and you've built up enough of that tension to kind of gauge people's curiosity, and people would have come back for the second part.
So let me ask you, splitting versus adding, say, an extra half an hour on the film, which do you think would have been the better route?
Adding a half an hour, I would say. At least. I mean, it's more content. If I had the choice, obviously 2 movies, but I would have also been happier, I think, with a longer runtime.
Again, harkening back to Lord of the Rings, I think those movies very, very much benefited from coming out with a specific extended edition to fix some of the things that get cut down.
Yes.
Like fundamentally, there were some problems with the studio, you know, the theater version of those movies, but they were big, they were flashy, they're exciting. It's like they work in film, but for the avid book readers and fans of the story, there is a lot missing, but they do a really good job of, like you're saying, tacking on an extra 30, 40, 50 minutes of content just if you want it. That I think it solves a lot of those problems, and to me, make that my favorite film series to watch.
Yeah, definitely. I think that would be much more preferable to me than splitting it, because I think the split only could have happened in the 7th one. I'm okay that they split the 7th because they're not at Hogwarts. I think if you split a school year down the middle, it totally splits. I mean, it literally splits the story. You're stalling it halfway through the year and you feel that stall. Whereas with the 7th one, because they're not at school and there's really no timeline, no linear progression that we have to worry about, it feels much more natural that it's one part of the story and then the conclusion of the story.
I don't know. I kind of
All
feel
agreed.
I kind of feel like Deathly
Well
Hallows.
said all around.
Well, I kind of feel like Deathly Hallows was clear in the time of the year that they were split. We had just been through Christmas time and visited Godric's Hollow. You know, Hermione conjured the wreath right there. But
I don't mean time wise that way. I mean, it's not like, like you're not experiencing a school year. Like it's like a normal. It's like they're adults, you know, they're adults out in the world now. Time doesn't mean as much to them as it did when they were in school and they had to get through an entire school year. So yeah, it does split like time wise linearly that way. Like you have Christmas and then obviously the Battle of Hogwarts is in May. We know that.
Right.
So we know that the book does follow the timeline of the school year, but it doesn't feel that way. And so I think that lends itself more easily to being split down the middle.
But how much of a focus is there really on the school aspect in the 4th movie? I mean, it's all about the Triwizard Tournament.
Yeah, and that I think makes the structure there.
I would have been happy with the 4-hour Goblet of Fire film, much as I'm happy with the 4-hour, Two Towers film, because I think the runtime in that is 3 hours and 58 minutes on the extended version.
And another 24 in bonus extra behind the scenes content.
Yes, absolutely.
Which is all worth watching. So good.
So I don't know if they were doing this for like budget constraints or whatnot, but I mean, I would have been totally fine with that. And they could have answered a lot. Heck, even in 30 minutes, they could have answered a lot. They could have gone a different way with the story. I just wish it was something that they kind of, and I'm sure they took it under consideration. But ultimately, I wish that Mike Newell had a much broader understanding of the Harry Potter universe at that time, or up until that time, to be able to say, you know what, it's going to have to happen. Like, this isn't going to be my call. It's because the way the story is flowing. All right, it's time to get to a few announcements. We want to thank everybody who showed interest in the part-time host opening. Submissions are now closed, and we did have a lot of people show interest, and we really wish we could pick everybody to join us. And we're greatly humbled by, all the support and all the love that's shown in those emails. We have made a decision, and it will be announced on episode 234. So not next week, but the week after. And also, we'll be sharing our decision with our patrons early. So they're going to get that peek into our new panel before anybody else. And we'll announce a date over on our Patreon page as that time becomes closer. And speaking of Patreon, do you want even more Hogwarts Radio? Our extended version, our 4 hour... No, I'm kidding, not 4 hours. That would be a little too much. A little too much for me.
But you do get to find out how we make our orcs.
Oh, that's very true. Shh, don't tell them.
Oh, sorry. Patrons only.
Consider donating to our show over on Patreon. We only need 3 more patrons until we hit our next goal. And if we hit a total of 15 patrons, we're going to extend our runtime to an hour and a half. So you're going to get at least an hour and a half of Hogwarts Radio every single week. Like I said, we'd love to bring you that extended version every week. I'm sure we would have no arguments from our listeners. Finally, Time Turner Thursdays is off to a great start. It's a wonderful way to revisit older episodes of the show once every other week. This past week, we re-released episode number 43. That was a lot of fun to go in and re-listen to because, guys, I tell you the truth, I haven't listened to that episode in 9 years. But it was solid. It was well done. It was before the opening of the theme park, and Jeff had the chance to go, and so he came on the show and talked to us about his experience and stuff like that, including losing his cell phone on the Rip Ride Rocket. I hope they still have that ride over at Universal Studios. But he had to shut down. The Universal staff shut down that ride for 3 hours as they looked for his phone. So all that and much more, subscribe. It's on our feed, so make sure you're subscribed to us wherever you get your podcasts. Time Turner Thursdays. It's a wonderful way to revisit older episodes. Before we wrap up today's episode, we're going to play Avada Kedavra, Amortentia Imperio. It's the Wizarding World's version of Screw, Marry, Kill. So who you would give the love potion to, who you would control to do your bidding, and obviously Avada Kedavra, who you would kill. So this first one goes to Luke. Luke, you have Winky the House Elf, the Portrait of Mrs. Black, and Bellatrix Lestrange.
Okay. What do I do with these people? Let's see. I am going to Imperio Ms. Lestrange. I feel like she's useful to have around. You know what? I guess I'm gonna Amortentia Winky the House Elf. Maybe that's weird. I don't know, but I'm definitely gonna off Avada Kedavra, the Portrait of Mrs. Black. She's terrible. I don't like her.
Well, she's just, she screams all the time. That's it. You could just put a curtain over her.
Didn't we just talk about Banshees last episode?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't feel great about my answer, but there it is.
Amortentia the House Elf, huh? Ooh.
Yeah.
She deserves to feel love, darn it.
Yeah.
Okay. This is a house elf with a drinking problem, too. As we remember. Oh, I'm sorry. For those that have only watched the movies, Winky was not in Goblet of Fire because they didn't make it 2 parts.
She was in the extended version.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, all her scenes got cut. That poor actress.
All right, who's next?
All right. Who am I giving mine to?
So it'll be Bailey to Gretchen, Luke to me, and Bailey and Gretchen to Bailey.
Okay, so guys, girls, girls.
Yeah.
All right, I'll just throw mine back to you then. All right.
Okay.
Charity Burbage, Arabella Fig, or Frank Bryce.
Let's see here. So I would Imperio, the Muggle. Okay, so the Muggle Studies professor, I feel like I would get along with the most just because we might have a common interest. Just saying. So Charity Burbage, I would Amortentia. I would Imperio Mrs. Fig to keep an eye out on those pesky neighbors for me. She could also, spy on people and give me the full report because that's something she's accustomed to. And, well, poor Frank Bryce. I mean, dude, you don't really do anything. I mean, he keeps up with the old Riddle house and stuff like that. Just nothing useful. Nothing useful.
Man, you're breaking my heart. I know Gretchen knows my love of Frank Bryce pretty well, but all right.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, Avada Kedavra Frank.
Right, fine.
All right, Gretchen, are you ready?
Never, but all right.
Mooney, Padfoot, and Prongs.
Okay, I need to clarify. You mean specifically them in their animagus form?
No.
Okay, great.
Hey, it's
I'm not that terrible.
You have to qualify it. I think it's fair.
I had to make sure. Those are their animagus nicknames.
I'm
Okay.
making-
All right. Well, that's a lot less scary.
I'm making notes for next week's episode.
Oh my gosh. All right. Mooney, Padfoot, and Prongs. Okay, so I'm gonna Amortentia Mooney because I think he's just like the nicest. So I think I would want to love him, have him love me. I'll Imperio Prongs because then I can like use him to travel. Is that wrong?
What
Just
are you
ride him.
specifically? Are you talking about his money involved with the traveling? 'Cause
Sure.
he's loaded,
yes.
right?
Yep.
Okay.
She
Yep.
means using Stag Uber.
Stag Uber, Stuber. You can use
Stuber.
Stuber.
Stag Uber. The Stag Uber. That's what I mean. I think that would be useful, so I'll go with that. What does that leave me with? Killing Sirius, killing Padfoot. You know what? I'm okay with that. I'm all right with those choices, so we'll go with that. That was challenging, though. All right, Bailey. Here are yours. One you'll notice is a crossover with someone else's, but it's all right. I'll explain. So your people are Regulus Black, Sirius Black, and Bellatrix Black. Not Bellatrix Lestrange. Bellatrix Black. Pre-marriage.
Is that whenever she didn't look like a hot mess, or whenever
She's
she was put
probably
together?
always been a hot
Yeah,
mess.
I
we
gotcha.
can't confirm that. Can neither confirm nor deny.
Well, Bellatrix is absolutely terrible, so I'm gonna Avada Kedavra Bellatrix. I will Imperio Regulus to go find things and get them for me, and I will Amortentia Sirius Black.
Good choices. Makes sense.
Your reasoning made me think of a Harry Potter musical.
Yes.
He's a finder. I'm good at finding things. He loves the
Particularly
Hufflepuff.
good finders, yes. That
Really
Regulus
good
Black.
finder.
Oh,
I
and
need to
the
watch
only
that
reason
again,
I'm
real
gonna Amortentia Sirius is because of an inside joke.
Well, that's cheating.
I need to hear this. I have this vision in my mind that Luke is an animagus. And Luke, are you an animagus? Are you a big black dog? I'm excited.
I have to go. I'll see you guys later.
All right. Well, speaking of having to go, we've had a lot of fun on the show this week. And as always, we want to thank everybody for joining us. Don't forget to sign up over at Patreon for additional bonus content. Thank you so much for tuning in. Once again, I'm Terrence Pinkston.
I'm Bailey Riddle.
I'm Luke Hogan.
And I'm Ron Burgundy. You stay classy, Hogwarts.
We'll be back next week for episode 233. Bye-bye. Stuber.
I'm Ron Burgundy.
Oh my god.
That was bloody brilliant.
Codswallop.
I'm Terrence Pinkston.
I'm Bailey Riddle.
I'm Luke Hogan.
And I'm Gretchen Rush.
Our show can be found virtually anywhere on the podcast. I couldn't even get through it. It was so cute.
I'm Griffin Hogan.
I love that.
It's the best.
Never fails.
No coughing.
All right, we
No
good?
breathing.
Our show can be found virtually anywhere podcasts are aggregated online.
Did that glitch out for everyone else?
Yeah, just a little bit. Go ahead.
Sounded like Bailey hates the new line.
Oh, do you hate the new line, Bailey?
It reads odd.
It's a little flat for you.
Our show can be found virtually anywhere podcasts are aggregated online. Do you want to stick with the old one? Here, I got the old one. I'll just paste it in there.
She probably
No,
remembers it.
It's okay. If you want to use the new one, we can use the new one. It makes no difference.
No. That's okay.
Our show can be found virtually anywhere online, such as iTunes, the Google Podcast app, Spotify, iHeartRadio. Oh my god. Take 3. It's fine.